We hope you plan to join us this year for Preservation Advocacy Week, taking place virtually March 7th through 10th. I'm Christina with the National Conference of State Historic Preservation Officers, and today we're taking a quick look at another one of our preservation priorities this year. This one deals with appropriations under the Historic Preservation Fund. Just to set the scene for you a little bit on Capitol Hill, congressional appropriators have not yet reached an agreement on a fiscal year 2022 appropriations bill, which means that we don't yet know what current funding levels will be, leaving advocates to push forward and proceed with asks under fiscal year 23 appropriations. And this is without the benefit of having those fiscal year 22 numbers on hand. Nonetheless, we have a really good sense of what reasonable asks will be to help promote preservation efforts. So as such, we're seeking increases to HBCU, TIPO, and competitive grant programs to support the protection and promotion of our nation's historic and cultural sites. So here you see the ask of $65 million for HBCUs, and this not only reflects funds needed for ongoing state agency efforts, and these of course would be things like locating and recording historic resources, operating and funding preservation programs, and providing technical assistance. But also it recognizes the recent $500 billion in new infrastructure spending. And this is really going to create more of a demand on our HBCU offices. They're still going to be required to fulfill the responsibilities of review and comment on federal undertakings through Section 106 proceedings. And this is going to cause an increased workload for the HBCU offices. So we feel this ask reflects the need for that. And likewise, our TIPOs assume many of the same responsibilities on tribal lands. And with the number of TIPOs increasing annually, an increase to 34 million will help them keep pace with increasing demands. Then we also have competitive grant programs that support programs for preservation efforts. And a lot of these efforts also further equity, diversity, and inclusion. So we're asking for $35 million for the Save America Treasures program. And this is going to help preservation projects and collections. Then the African American Civil Rights Program comes in at $24 million. This is going to help document, interpret, and preserve sites related to civil rights movement. Next up, we have HBCUs at $12 million, and this is going to help identify and restore historic structures on historically Black colleges and university properties. Next, we also have $12 million for Paul Brune grants, and this is going to foster economic development in those rural communities, which is so important to preservation. We also have the semi-quincentennial grants that support state-owned National Register listed resources, and of course, commemorate the founding of our nation at $10 million. The History of Equal Rights grants, which is going to preserve sites of achieving equal rights at $5 million. Serving underrepresented communities, so really working towards diversifying nominations and supporting those underrepresented communities at $3 million. And that rounds out the list of asks for appropriations for fiscal year 2023, the total of which you can see is $200 million. And this is going to be required to adequately fund these preservation efforts, given the current demands we're all facing in preservation. So we ask that you share your knowledge and advocate for why historic preservation is important in your community. We really think that your voice can make a difference, and we appreciate your advocacy efforts during Preservation Advocacy Week and all year long in support of preservation. So you can always reach out to your congressional representatives and let them know why preservation efforts are important to you. For more information on our advocacy efforts this year, feel free to reach out. And also don't forget to register for Advocacy Week, March 7th through 10th. And we'll see you on the virtual Hill.